Let's unpack this. Imagine, not actually that long ago, emergency medical services could mean a ride in a hearse, literally. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something pretty remarkable. How EMS in the US, well, how it transformed from that really basic transport to the sophisticated critical care system we, rely on now. And we're going to look closely at a really groundbreaking shift, giving blood transfusions right there, out in the field.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating, I think, is how much of this change was kicked off by, well, a pretty shocking comparison. Injured soldiers from Korea and Vietnam. They often have better survival rates from trauma than civilians hurt on American highways.
Wow.
Right. That realization really exposed a critical gap here at home. It forced radical rethink. And that really paved the way for delivering actual life-saving care directly to patients, changing the whole point of EMS, from just transport to performing life-sustaining interventions.
You just mentioned that shocking comparison. So how did we actually shift from, funeral homes providing transport totally unregulated to a standardized system? What was the real catalyst?
Yeah, the critical moment, the catalyst, was definitely the 1966 landmark white paper. You might know it, Accidental Death and Disability, Elected Disease of Modern Society. And this document, it wasn't just pointing out the problem, it really galvanized federal action, led directly to things like the Highway Safety Act, eventually national EMS standards, even the 911 system we all know.
Right.
And that foundational shift, well, that allowed EMS to grow into a core part of acute care. It's even recognized now as an official subspecialty of emergency medicine.
That military link seems so clear then, taking lessons from the battlefield right into civilian life. But was it hard? I mean, integrating that kind of fast advanced trauma care into our, very different civilian world.
Oh, absolutely. It's been an ongoing process and evolution. But you see it in programs like Stop the Bleed. And definitely in this push for pre-hospital blood transfusions in civilian EMS, it shows how vital that military-civilian connection still is. It's really about adapting those battlefield insights, for the unique challenges we face here.
Okay, so with EMS doing so much more now, who are the people actually doing this? Who are these professionals on the front lines delivering this advanced care? What's their training like?
That's a really important distinction to make. We basically have two fundamental levels: BLS, basic life support, and ALS, advanced life support. So your BLS providers, mostly EMTs, there are about 400,000 of them. They get around, say, 180 hours of training.
Okay.
They're absolute experts in those vital basic steps, CPR, controlling bleeding. They're really the backbone. But, and this is key, their scope usually doesn't include initiating blood transfusions.
Got it.
Then you have the ALS personnel, roughly 65,000 of them, mostly paramedics. Their education is significantly more robust, often 1,000, maybe 1,500 hours. And this advanced training lets them do complex clinical assessments, read ECGs, give a whole range of emergency meds. And critically, these are the advanced clinicians who can, in systems where it's allowed, start administering blood products.
And that leads us to maybe the most, groundbreaking part of this whole journey, something almost unimaginable just a few years back, giving blood products right there in the field. It's kind of astonishing. As of, July 2025, 265 ground EMS systems in the U.S. actually have blood products available. And 44 states plus D.C. let paramedics initiate these transfusions. That's life-saving blood right at the scene or on the way to the hospital.
Exactly. And it all comes down to getting that critical care to patients faster than ever. A common way it works now is putting blood products on EMS supervisor vehicles. They can then meet up with the transporting ambulance. But this definitely raises a big question about what's next, right?
Yeah, where does it go from here?
Well, imagine future tech, like dried plasma. That's a blood product that doesn't need refrigeration, lasts way longer on the shelf. Think about what that could do for access, especially in, really rural, remote areas.
Yeah.
It'd be a game changer.
Okay, so we have these incredible advances, the training, the potential for even more.
Yeah.
But there's a catch, right? A roadblock.
Yeah.
Funding. How does the current system actually impact adopting these life-saving steps?
Yeah, it's more than just a funding gap. It's almost a systemic disincentive, you could say. The current Medicare payment model, which at this was set up way back in 2002, it basically pays a flat fee for transport, not for the actual, sophisticated medical care that's being given.
Wow, okay.
So it actively works against EMS agencies adopting these very innovations that we know improve patient outcomes.
Yeah.
It forces them to rely on, unstable funding like grants or donations. Even with some recent changes, believe it or not, the extra charges allowed for giving blood often add up to less than the cost of just one single unit of blood.
Seriously, less than the cost of the blood itself.
Yeah. So you can see how that really impacts adopting newer, maybe higher cost tech like synthetic blood products down the line. It really demands we rethink how we value pre-hospital care fundamentally.
It really throws into sharp relief that the technology, the skills are there, but the financial structure just hasn't kept pace, puts immense pressure on these vital services.
Absolutely. It's been an incredible journey, though, from, those basic hearse transports to paramedics giving blood by the roadside. The evolution is just astounding, and you've heard how military lessons, key laws, and dedicated professionals have just kept pushing the boundaries of what's possible before a patient even reaches the hospital.
Yeah, it really shows how adaptable EMS is, but also those funding struggles.
Exactly. It highlights that adaptability, but also the real challenges from these, frankly, outdated funding models. So consider this as we wrap up. If we can actually figure out how to overcome these systemic financial hurdles, what other kinds of cutting-edge hospital-level treatments might soon become possible right there in the back of an ambulance? And how could that dramatically improve outcomes for everyone, no matter where they happen to be?